Hello friends, welcome to this very special episode from Crybaby Sentimental Homestead, and I would love to share this adventure with you. I have been waiting decades. I'm not overestimating decades. I've been waiting just decades to be able to go to the Lavender Festival in Sequim, Washington. Sequim, S-E-Q-U-I-M. I'm going to post links in the description box and in the comments, and for you to be able to check out some of the different events. Yes, the Lavender Festival is one weekend in July, and it's now past. It was this last weekend. However, the farms are still there, and I think the most wonderful products that they had were available at the farms. Some of them even have websites and deliver. So like actually you can have them ship them items for you. So I'm super excited. Are you excited? Lavender. Okay, so I'd like to show you guys that footage. You can see from the beginning to the end. Look at the vendors. First we start off with the park where all the vendors are, and I show you the different plants there for sale. I did pick some up. I show you some of the foods and things I got, and then I'm going to come back to you kind of after that footage, and I'm going to show you some additional work where I was transplanting the lavender, harvesting my own, and kind of talking about some of the products I found. You wouldn't believe that lavender is edible. I can't believe it. It tastes so different than anything you've ever experienced. Stick around with me, guys. Let's see what's happening next. I think I want to get some of the white and silver, maybe a pink one.
Which one's pink?
There's pink lavender. Yeah, some are better for drying, culinary, oils. Even the fire hydrant is purple. This one's good for desserts, it says. Melissa or pink, are they good for culinary or drying, or just for the color?
Yeah, just for the color.
Okay.
You can dry them, but it ends up being like a white.
Okay, but the royal velvet's good for culinary?
Yeah, you can use it.
Okay.
What's the Christmas poo?
See if there's anything else that I need.
You had another one?
We do have it.
You guys have left yet?
So, tasting the two flavors of the ice cream, I had the blueberry lavender and the lavender cream. The lady was so generous, and when she heard me talking to my friend saying, I don't want to really get 2 scoops, but I'm really battling between which flavors to get, she said, oh, I can split the scoop. So she gave me half a scoop of the blueberry lavender and half a scoop of the lavender cream, and they were both very, very good. The lavender cream was actually, the lavender blueberry was blue or purple, so that made you think, oh yeah, it's gonna be lavender. The lavender cream definitely had that lavender flavor. I think it was a little bit more subtle in the lavender cream, which I actually preferred, having a little bit more subtle flavor. Otherwise it comes a little strong, maybe a little bit perfumey, but it was very, very good. I also didn't take pictures of the fudge, but there was a fudge vendor Yes, fudge. I love fudge. So, no one beats my mom's fudge. Okay, her and Paula Deen, I think. Anyway, so the fudge flavors that I had, I just took a little sample. There was the vanilla lavender, chocolate lavender, and then I also got some just typical, you know, maybe it was peanut butter and fudge, and then I also I actually bought the root beer fudge. So I gave the fudge to my children because they didn't get to come with me, and I obviously couldn't bring ice cream back with me, but I was able to bring them back some fudge, which they enjoyed. And I will say, like, you know what, the ice cream is a lot better than the fudge, but I tried something not lavender flavored that I never had before that I really liked. That was the root beer fudge. You should try it out. I'm going to put the vendor's information in the description box and the comment area so that you can check them out. I think they do actually mail orders out. The root beer fudge was really, really good, especially if you like root beer floats. Okay, so try some different things. I'm going to be in the future trying to make some of my own concoctions, especially now that I've purchased a culinary lavender variety. I don't see why you couldn't use other varieties. Maybe they just have a little bit stronger or not as strong flavor. So I might do a little comparing to see, like, okay, you called this culinary, you didn't call this one culinary. They are the same species, they're just barely even different. And just see how it goes. And I'll let you guys know what I think about that. But I wanted to show you some of the items I got. Of course, they had to use purple wrapping paper. But at one of the farms, which I'm forgetting which one was which. I think it was this one here, the Olympic Bluffs. Okay, the Olympic Bluffs, a little sticker on there says Olympic Bluffs Lavender Farm and Cidery. I thought this was interesting, and I didn't want to steal the idea and use the idea without at least buying one of them from them, just to be polite. I've thought about doing this before, but I thought they did a really good job of it, and they actually made these like little pillows, and you think, oh, put it on your bed, but actually they're sewn really well. And I'm not sure if you can see, but the sewing here looks like little flowers, and I do not have a sewing machine, but so mine won't look that pretty. But they have little flowers around the edges, and these are meant to be used instead of dryer sheets. So you throw these in with your load of laundry. Oh, these smell so good. So my problem with gathering my own lavender is that I like to let them like go longer, and I save the seeds. I'm kind of a seed addict. I'm like, if I let it go a little bit longer, each of those stalks will give me like a mini, like maybe 20, 30 plants. So it's hard for me to actually harvest, which you saw, I harvested some. Oh, and mine is sweet. Okay, I will say, the ones I planted for myself, these are for my actual plants in the front yard. They are very sweet. They have a sweet smell, not just this overpowering perfumey lavender. It almost has like lavender and rose together. It's really sweet. I love it. So I save seeds for mine, and I don't know what variety I have, but it's a massive plant that's been growing my property for about 13 years. Wow. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about some more of these products. It's so beautiful. That's giant. How many feet across do you think that is? Like 4 feet?
Yeah. So do you have these by your house?
Yes. But mine aren't, they're not globular shaped like this. They kind of more sprawling. Yeah. I think if I put it in the ground, it might spread out like this. That's cool. It's beautiful. It's our ginkgo biloba.
Bị mất sống rồi, nó không có nghe gì hết.
California poppies. So beautiful.
Đứng đây, rồi qua bên kia chụp lại. Em thấy nắng ghê luôn á, nắng ghê. Qua bên đây chụp lại đi, qua hướng đây nhìn em nè. Bây giờ thử có bụng ra thử không? Lên bên đây chụp lại.
Okay, just a second.
Here are the 3 baby lavender plants I got while I was at the Lavender Festival. I have the Nana alba, the white flowers. And I have the Melissa, which is the pink flowers. And they said that these are not really good for food, but any lavender would smell good in the sachets and things like that for potpourris or whatever. So I've got the Melissa, and I've got the Nana alba, the white and the pink. And this is the purple variety, which is called Royal Velvet. And this is for culinary uses. So this would be good for teas and flavoring different foods. So I'm going to go ahead and up-pot these. And I have these pots I got at the Dollar Tree. These pots from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to go ahead and use those. And I need to melt some holes. So I've got my soldering iron out here. And here is a sachet of the lavender that I bought when I was there. Oh, it smells so nice. I didn't need to buy it, you guys, but I did want to support their farms. I do have a lot of lavender growing on my property, but this smells really good. And it's good for peace of mind. There's a lot of studies that show like aromatherapy is very therapeutic. So therapy is therapeutic, duh. Okay, well, it smells really good. And it was only like $3, so I'm not really worried about that. I wanted to support some of the vendors. And the plants here were only $5 each, which is about typical for this size. There were some vendors that charged more, but this one was very nice. Oh, I really do like this. Ooh, my soldering iron is hot, hot, hot now. So you can see the steam coming off of it. Okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and start poking some holes. You can see here that you can just poke those holes out probably, or drill them out. I don't want to risk cracking them, so I always use the soldering iron. This can be very satisfying. I'm going to do some just traditional holes on the sides. This will be one for the outdoor plants. This is not going to be for my lavender. I'm going to put this off to the side because my trick that I like to do is to make self-watering pots. And how I do that is I make the holes on the side but I'm going to go a little bit up the side. So what I'll do is I'll fill this bottom area with like rocks, like right here, and I'll make the hole maybe here or here. That way there's a little bit of a reservoir of water underneath, but it's in under the rock, so it's not going to be disgusting and stinky and all that kind of stuff. So I want to keep a little reservoir of water in the bottom. So I think I'm going to go to like right here, and then I'll fill rocks up to maybe here, so that when it fills up with water, it drains out. The rocks act like a filter, but they're like a lava rock, which is very porous, which will also act as a way to wick up the moisture into the plant. Now, lavender don't like to be like sopping wet, so I think I might do the holes a little bit lower. But often for plants that are thirsty, I do the holes a little bit higher, but I always do the rock level much higher than where I put the holes. Okay? So on this one, I'm going to put the holes not quite at the bottom. And I don't know if you can see that. I think I'll do 3. I want good drainage, but I do want it to be a self-watering pot, so there has to be a little bit of water at the bottom for that to be the case. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of these. I'm going to do 3 that are low like this because they're lavender, shouldn't have wet feet, but some of the other ones I'm going to go a little higher for other plants that should have more water. So I did 3 with the low holes, and on this one here I'm going a little bit higher up, and so I have a couple like this for other plants, and the ones that I got for the lavender I went with the lowest, and I kind of just went with like the corner of one of these diamonds. So for the lavender I went this low, and for other plants I'm going higher, but for the rocks I'm going to put higher than the hole. Otherwise, you're just going to have a disgusting, stinky, toxic, aerobic environment. You don't want that. So let's go get the rocks. I forgot to take note of which farm I had bought these from. So the bag here says Ray's, but I'm not sure if they're just repurposing these bags or not. But all of the lavender farms seem to have the same varieties practically, so I don't think it really matters. But I did get these from Sequim. You can pick up lavender any place. I wanted to get some special varieties, Melissa, the Albanana, or the white one, and the culinary as well. And although some of them, like the Royal Velvet's the one that's considered culinary of these three, I would think that you could probably use any lavender for culinary uses. Probably not a lot because it does have a really strong flavor. I think they're best for aromatherapy. This here is one of my established lavender plants that we planted here probably within a couple years of when we moved in. So it's been here for 16 years. We've been here, probably like 13 or 14 years. And it keeps growing and sprawling out farther. But so it can get pretty wide. This is probably 4 feet or 5 feet wide at least. It's probably as long as I am tall. So maybe 5'4". And I've done lots of videos with this particular plant showing how it's so loved by pollinators. Deviating from the lavender, I actually up-potted these black-eyed Susans last night. My husband brought home a bunch of really good soil. Now I do think the soil is a little bit too warm. It's probably not all the way broken down, so I'm gonna have to make sure they stay really watered. But I also planted some fruit trees. I lost the labels. Somebody planted those, the ones that had the rocks around them, had planted them in little cups, and I bought them from them a couple years ago. Might have been last summer or summer before. They're either apples or pears, seedlings, so we'll never know what we're going to get until they actually fruit. Let's go ahead and go over here off to the side of the property where I have some lava rocks. So I've got a couple of trash cans full of rocks that people wanted off their landscape. If you just put rocks on top of your weeds, the weeds are just going to go through it and make it even harder for you to weed. So a lot of people, I think, have done that. I'm not using rocks to suppress weeds. If you want to use rocks, you probably need to do some kind of weed barrier before you do that, or use very large rocks. Weeds are going to have no problem going right through this, and I actually had to weed this area to get in here, and I'm just going to fill up the bottom of these containers. I'm going to try to avoid soil because actually some things are starting to break down in here. Like this is underneath one of the wild cherry trees, and so a lot of stuff gets dropped down and starts to break down. And I found a good use for these rocks because they're so porous. They hold water and they kind of like soak the water up, and it's kind of like hydroponics in a way. So they're very light and porous. So I like these rocks a lot for self-watering containers, and as far as I know, I made this idea up myself. I binge watched self-watering containers like probably 10-15 years ago, and I didn't like all these of plastic, like with these like plastic jugs on the bottom, and then using fabric and other things like that. It just seemed like really complicated, and I actually tried. I'll show you my self-watering container some other time that I made using a Folgers coffee container and some of the like the plastic piping that you use for bubblers in your fish tank, because it does really work. But I just think this is so much simpler and natural, and then I don't have to worry about the plastic degrading or the system to stop working and having to take it apart. I basically just would up pot whenever the plant outgrows the space. I don't have anything else to worry about. So I kind of want to get a sense for how much I have in here. So I think I need more. I'm going to do a little bit more rocks in this one. And again, remember, you really want to have, if you're doing rocks in here, you want to do higher than the holes so that you're not getting a lot of bacteria. So there's a little bit of soil on the rocks. I'm not going to bother washing them off. That's silly. But I definitely have enough rocks in here that the holes are below that line considerably. And that way, and this is a rock. It just has a little bit, some roots growing around it. I love this idea because it really does give you a self-watering plant. And remember with lavender though, they don't like to have wet feet. So don't make those waters up, those holes really up high, because there'll be way too much water in there. So I have them down low, just gives a little tiny, like maybe a centimeter or two of water underneath all the rocks. All right, I've got a good amount of soil in all three containers. So now I'm going to put in some soil. Wish my husband did me a good favor by bringing this in. I might mix in some other soil because I think this is a little bit warm. As in maybe not completely broken down. As I was working with it, it felt kind of warm to the touch, which made me concerned. I was washing my hands really good. So I don't want to use too much of this. I might use a little bit of this and something else, some of the leftover remnants of my other pots. So I'm going to fill the bottom with this stuff, and then I have some soil left over in this container that I'm going to use to top it off. So the roots are not in hot compost. And so you remember the holes I put are very close to the bottom, and I used the little bottom corner of the diamonds as my marking point so that they're symmetrical. And it would be nice if you have this on, like up high, if you have another container underneath it to catch the water that comes through. That'll be very nutritious nutrients coming through on that as well. So let's go ahead and put some soil into this container. Okay, that looks like plenty of that kind of soil, because I remember I don't want to burn my plants because it seems like it's a little bit warm. So I'm gonna top it off with this. And I don't feel comfortable putting my hands really in this material, knowing that it's not fully broken down, or feeling like it's not anyway. But this stuff here feels totally fine. And I want to have a good layer of what I would consider safe soil underneath my plant, so I'm not burning the roots. And as the roots grow down, that soil will continue to break down. And I'm pretty sure I got some roots in here, some worms in here, because as I was digging up the lava rocks, I saw a lot of movement. So there's life in here. It's not dead soil. So that's good. I want to work in some organic matter into the soil, just because there are living organisms in there and they can have some food. Do the Melissa lavender first. I'm going to use this small shovel, which is so easy to maneuver. Oh, I forgot I wasn't going to do that kind of spell. Hold on. I'll leave that, but I'm going to continue with this because I don't want it to be too hot. Compost can get really warm when it's breaking down, which can be good and bad. It actually can be dangerous. You could have, actually I saw somebody on the news the other night, someone in California had a heaping pile of compost and it caught their yard on fire. Luckily they had green grass that had been watered that stopped the fire from spreading. It's kind of nice to plant some things like succulents because that actually helps fires from spreading as well. So we're doing this. There's a method to my madness. Okay, let's take this out. All right, and then we can place it right into the spot that we made. And I'm going to continue to fill in because I don't want the roots to be exposed to air, and I'm going to water this in as well. Now established lavender plants do not like to be sopping wet, but my French lavender actually have really fried up in the sun. Last summer we got some really unprecedented heat in Washington State, and they were damaged so badly. It was maybe the summer before. Okay, so that one looks good so far, and I will water all three of them at the same time, so I'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. I forgot, I wanted to put some river rock on top of this. It looks pretty. It also helps to suppress weeds. Helps, doesn't stop them, so you still have to weed, but it does help. And it helps to prevent evaporation, which also helps to keep your plants cool and prevents them from dehydrating and wilting in the hot sun. Lavender and rosemary too are very tolerant compared to other plants of drought, but everything has a point, you know. So I don't like to let my plants get super, super, super dry, especially if they're in a pot. If they're in the ground, the roots can do a little bit of their own work. But I like the way this looks, and when I water, I'm also not splashing soil and bacteria up onto the plant, which some of them might be, you know, put into sachets under your pillow. You don't want to bring in a bunch of germs. And some of the varieties are culinary, so I wash them before we use them anyway. But I also like to do this as well. It does keep your plant cleaner, and I like the way it looks. So I'm going to use some of this compost. I'm going to get some green. We'll just take some of these cherry leaves. Has an abundance of leaves, and it's done producing fruit for me. So put this into the container for the worms. Put a little bit more. And then I'm going to use soil from here. I have to break up the clumps because I haven't been watering this pot that much. Occasionally, so it's not completely bone dry. I got to break up those clumps. And I think I'll plant the white next. And we'll save the culinary for last. So Nana, Alba. Is it a soft A or a hard A? Nana Alba. Okay. Grab the plant. Got the Nana Alba. The white flowering lavender. Okay. Situate that down. It's so satisfying to plant containers because you do have that sense of accomplishment that you got something done. Working in very large spaces, it takes a lot longer. So you can see a little bit of progress, but you don't feel like that immediate gratification. So if you struggle with that, if you have some attention issues, you might try planting in pots. Large pots are nice because they actually take less work, just because they are able to self-regulate more naturally. But raised beds are also nice. I do a lot of container gardening, especially recently as I'm middle-aged. I used to plant a lot more into the ground directly when I was younger. It takes more maintenance, and you definitely have to be very limber. So this is a good way around that. Okay, pull that up. And I'll tell you what, starting YouTube has really gotten me motivated to finish what I start. So I've had some projects where it took me a couple years before I got to it, and luckily things survived. But maybe making some to-do lists, checklists, putting things on your calendar. All right, that looks good. Let's go get some rocks to top this off. This seems pretty high to the top. I should have left a little bit more space, but as it gets watered over time, it will start to sink down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little, because I do have the bottom full of rocks, so it won't sink down very much, but enough that I can water it easily. And the rocks here are going to be very helpful with watering because it is not messy when you have rocks all the way around. And these are light colored rocks, so I feel, and I should get a thermometer to do a reading on it, but I feel like it does keep it cooler on hot days to have light colored rocks. Okay, I really like how this looks. I planted black currants the same way, the same style, with the lava rocks on the bottom, soil and so forth, and then rocks on the top. And when I'm watering this, it's so satisfying. It makes a really neat little sound, and it's not a big muddy mess. Let's go on to our last one. This last one is for the culinary variety, which is called Royal Velvet. So I'm putting my hot compost on here. I'm not trying to use hot compost. I'm just kind of desperate for soil, so I'm using what we had available. Getting some more plant material. I try to take from the branches that I know I'm going to prune off. Just getting food for the worms. This step is not necessary. I'll add a little bit more. And then I don't have a lot of soil left, so I'm going to have to go scavenge other containers. Okay. Let's see. Here's the Royal Velvet. I'm going to just kind of wiggle it down. There we go. I found a little bit of soil around the property, things that didn't go well or were done. So let's go ahead and put this in. All right, and we'll go ahead and lift this up. And I kind of push the soil down, make sure that it's nice and firm. There we go. And get my rocks in. I didn't go as high with the soil this time because I remember last time I went a little too high, and I want to make sure that the rocks don't fall out, which would make it hard to mow the lawn. And I was able to get these rocks for free as well. So a lot of people do landscaping and then the weeds grow through the rocks and then they don't want them anymore. So you might get a good deal, get them for free. I didn't buy these. I didn't buy the lava rocks either. So I got the river rocks on top and lava rocks on bottom. I like the porous rocks on the bottom, and I like to have the shiny, beautiful ones on top. I also like the look of lava rocks on top if you don't have these. And you don't have to use this, but I think it looks pretty. Now it's time to water them. I like to collect my water in containers the day before, let the chemicals dissipate. I really smell chlorine and stuff on our tap water, so I like to let it kind of chill overnight. And then these babies get the very best water. And this is a little bit heavy, so I'm lightening it up a little bit. See how nice it waters when you've got the rocks on top? Beautiful. While I'm over here, I'll go ahead and water these some more because I am a little bit worried that the soil might be hot. These here are black-eyed Susans I got for free from somebody who is dividing up a clump in their yard. And then I've got some fruit trees, little baby seedlings. There we go. All right, those are lavender, and that's done for now. Super, super easy. And that was the hardest part of growing lavender, is just starting, and then they're pretty carefree from then on. Water them occasionally. You don't want the soil to be completely bone dry, but they don't like to have wet feet, so don't overwater. So this is one of the farms I went to, and B&B Family Farm is the other. I honestly can't remember which I bought the items from. This is a small bag, so it must have been not that many things. So you have to look at their websites and see which product came from which farm. But they all had wonderful things in there, and I want to say there was like 7 farms that are free to go to, and then 3 that cost money to get in. And they might have different hours depending on the season, days, whatever. Even though, like, I'm sure the Lavender Festival weekend is probably their biggest income weekend, I'm sure they're open other times. So check it out. I'm going to post a bunch of links in the description and comments. So I get really stressed out, especially, working full time and everything. So I got this lavender massage oil. And like I thought, from tension headaches, for my neck and shoulders, I think that would be really nice. And it was pretty expensive. I don't remember what I paid for it. I want to say it was $13, but I can't remember. But it smells really good. Obviously, you would imagine, right? So I'm going to imagine that this is like, you could smell this, right? That smells really nice. I think it would be nice even if it says massage oil, just like for like if you have cracked heels and stuff like that, make your feet smell good, and also like help with your rough feet, especially dry time in summer and everything. So I might use this for my feet, give myself a little foot massage. And what else did I get in here? Oh, I got a couple more items. So this is cool too. This is the same kind of idea. Olympic Bluffs lavender, and this is like a salve. So what they would call it, they call it lavender repair, and it's a salve, and it actually has not just lavender, it has lavender, calendula infused jojoba, jojoba oil, right? So it's infused with calendula and lavender, avocado oil, beeswax, lavender, and essential oils. So this is, I was thinking for like really dry summer skin, I was thinking the backs of my hands. And I was actually thinking this for my feet, but I think I might use this for my feet and then use this for my hands. This is a little bit more greasy, but it feels really nice on my skin. Especially gardening, I wash my hands so much, especially after getting that load of kind of hot compost. So I'm using it, but I feel like I need to be wearing gloves, and I'm washing my hands a lot. So that is really nice. And again, I don't remember what I paid for it. Everything was kind of expensive, but I kind of felt like I'm supporting the farms. They didn't charge us parking, they didn't charge us entry fee or anything like that. And also, I plan on making this kind of stuff, and so I think, you know, trying it out and seeing what it's supposed to end up being like, and then try to make it myself and see if it's a hit or miss, right? So this is really nice. Okay, and I've seen containers kind of like this at the Dollar Tree. So making your own, I think I will use coconut oil, coconut oil and beeswax with calendula and lavender essential oil. I think that's what I will use when I make mine. And then they have these roller things. I got one with a pink container for my daughter, and I thought this is kind of cool because I can clip on the side of my purse, and it just rolls on, and it's very nice. And even though they're all like lavender products, they all have a little bit a different smell. Like even how I said my lavender, oh my god, my lavender's better. These are all really good, but my lavender smells sweet, not just lavendery. And maybe it's because I let mine mature more, and most people pick them when they're like bright purple. I don't, because I want the pollinators to do their thing, and I like to collect the seeds. And I want to see, I'll tie these up and enjoy them in the house, and then I'm going to see if I can still collect the seeds from them. Because when I think of like, that's a baby, that's a baby, that's a baby, there's 2, 4, there's like 4, 8, 12, 16, 32, maybe 40 babies on each of these. I'm thinking 40 plants right here. It's hard for me to pick it. Am I alone? Am I the only one who feels that way? I don't know. I'm weird. I also got this. This was also from the Olympic Bluffs Lavender Farm. And I liked that it has the little reusable, I don't know what these are called. I've had some other ones at home as well. But I want to try this out. And let's go ahead and test that out together, and I'll let you know how it is. So I'll put that to the side. I'm going to get a cup, and I might do some honey in it to sweeten it, since I don't have any stevia. Hello, someone said mommy. Okay, so hold on a second. So I was telling my daughter that I think my lavender smells so much better. It's like sweet, not too perfumey, right? It's like more like lavender and rose had a baby. Okay, and Olivia said I need to smell the lavender oil that I bought. Okay, all right. Whoa,
That's like,
that needs to be diffused.
it kind of smells like BO plus lavender together. If you do this,
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, I'm trying to. This is recording. I'm trying to like. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is better. This is so much better.
So much better.
So
I
much better.
use that one every day though.
So my daughter, I got her one of these too with a pink. I like these is nice because also if it falls, it doesn't shatter. So it's like protective case. I got her the pink one. She's using it every day, like helping with stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, insomnia, that kind
I'm
of stuff.
putting it on my neck, behind my ears.
Okay, so we do this. Okay. My stress is gone. Just kidding. I no longer have any stress. I now have restful sleep. I'm just kidding. It smells really good. So I want to try this tea, and let's see together if it's nasty. All right, and I want to talk to you guys too about that fudge. This is the company Big Bear Chocolate. It says they're actually out of Spokane Valley, which is Eastern Washington. And if I go to Spokane in the near future, probably won't be for a while. Maybe I'll check them out if they have a location. It says dj.chocolates@hotmail.com. And Big Bear, it's called bigbearchocolates.com. So if you want to try some of that fudge I was talking about, you want to go to bigbearchocolates.com. And the fudge that I went crazy over was root beer float, and honestly it tasted, to me, I thought it was really good. It tasted like a real root beer float. So sorry it's super loud over here. So bigbearchocolates.com, and it says get 10% off your first order when you use this code at checkout. Okay, so I'll go ahead and tell you what it is. It's a Big Bear Deal, all caps. Big Bear Deal, all caps. They gave this to me for making my order, but I'm sure they love the publicity. So check it out. Now, some people are like kind of picky when it comes to like fudge and that kind of stuff. I'm picky because my mom makes the best. She uses a recipe that she's been using forever. Later found out that Paula Deen's recipe for fudge has the same secret ingredient. I won't tell you what that is right now. Okay, but this place, seriously, the root beer, I know it's not lavender, but the root beer fudge was really, really good. It reminds me of my childhood. I was going to go around the property and show you the lavender starts I did from seed and the ones I did from cuttings. I've shown those in previous videos, and this video is getting pretty long, so I'm not going to add more. But you definitely can grow lavender from seeds, but you let the flowers go past their prime and kind of dry out. I let them dry out on the stalks, dry out on the stem. Then I cut them. I put them into brown paper lunch bags upside down. I tie it or just roll it down, and I shake, and I let the seeds fall down. Okay, it works really well. Another thing you can do is if you have a kind of a deep cup or vase or a bowl, a really long, you want to have it pretty high so it doesn't like lose the seeds everywhere. But then you put them in and you just smack. You smack the seed heads against the sides back and forth until the seeds fall out, and the seeds and the chaff are easy to separate because the chaff is light, and you can just go and the chaff will blow away and the seeds will stay because they're heavier and they're really tiny and glossy. Planting lavender from seeds is easy. You put it on the top of the soil like in a plastic container, mist them really good. Make sure you push them down so they're in good contact. Mist them really good, put a lid on it, and where's Waldo? And then they sprout. Sometimes it can take as much as 2 weeks. For me, the last time I did it, it took only a couple of days. And then for cuttings, you don't take the flower stalks. You take the stalks that have the leaves without the flowers, cut them, pull the bottom parts of the leaves off. That kind of makes little scars on it, so then you don't have to scratch the stems. And you can do rooting hormone if you want to, but you don't have to. And you can just stick it directly into a loose pot of soil and then water it in really good, put it out of direct light, and then just keep it wet, and eventually they will grow. Most of them will grow roots and form their own plants. So not too hard, especially if you have this plant is wonderful, and I'm sure the offspring will be great too. But if I wanted to make sure I got this plant, I would need to clone it. All right, so we're gonna try out the tea. My daughter went ahead and brewed it for me.
It's kind of hot.
Okay, super hot. All right, and I can see that some of it is kind of floating. So some of the particles are smaller than the mesh. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is okay. I don't mind. All
Like,
edible.
like a cloth bag over
And
it.
it doesn't tell me what else is in here, but I know it's it's some kind of tea. They said it's not black tea that's mixed with it, so it's lavender and something else. Okay, and you put honey in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see how weird this is.
It's gonna be really hot.
It says to-do list: wake up, drink coffee, fight for life. Okay, drink tea. Right? It's really hot.
Kind of smells weird.
Kind of smells weird. What does it smell like? It kind of smells like my dad's old tobacco when he used to smoke a pipe with his corn cob. I think it's too hot.
Yeah, it's too hot. Just wait a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about life. How was your day? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna let it cool down a minute. Okay, it's just now cool enough to take a sip. I can't really taste I can't really taste the lavender. I'll have to make my own tea and let you know how that goes. It tastes okay. I'm definitely gonna drink it. It's kind of weird that all the little pieces are kind of floating in there. I think maybe instead of using this, I would want to use an actual tea bag and also use more of the lavender and less of the tea blend they mixed it with. But it's kind of funny that it kind of reminds me of the way my dad's old tobacco smelled, because this reminds me of how the tobacco would come in his corn cob pipe. He would put it in there. So that's okay. It's not, I wouldn't buy it again, but I'll drink it because it was expensive. So my daughter brought some of the chocolate lavender. All right, this is the chocolate lavender fudge from Big Bear, and their company's also Sequim, like I said, but I got it at Sequim. You can see that they have little bits of the flour chaff on top of the fudge, and my kids have already been snacking on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a little taste. I want to get a little taste that has a little bit of that seed, that little chaff on there. Let's see how that tastes with it. I mean, it looks kind of like how it would, you know, like as a little accessory on a plate or something. So I wonder how it's gonna taste to put that much. Well, let's see. I actually like that.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought it was gonna be weird to have the flour chaff on top of the fudge, because when I sampled it at the festival, the piece I had as a sample didn't have it, but it does actually taste really good. So, and this is the chocolate. The vanilla, I remember, was my favorite. I like the vanilla. My friend said she thought it tasted like frosting. So I didn't think it tasted like frosting, but you know, I think this is good, especially with a little bit of seed chaff on there. But if I had to pick between the lavender fudge and the root beer fudge, I would definitely do the root beer. So that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, I'm going to end this video with harvesting lavender. All right, everybody, God bless. Make sure you click subscribe, comment, and all that jazz. God bless you.